Hey, what's going on, everybody? Back for another edition of the main event. I'm Daniel, and tonight we got Survivor Series 1988. Teams of 5 strive to survive. And they certainly do. Alright, so we're going back to November 24th, 1988. Richfield, Ohio, at the Richfield Coliseum. And we're in front of like 13,000 plus fans, I believe. And yeah, the main event, Survivor Series elimination match. It's Team Twin Towers versus Team Mega Powers. So first things first, let's just talk about a little the build-up here. Unlike the previous year, where it seemed like every single opponent had some opposition, had a storyline going into it. This one, not so much. And I'll be honest, I don't know exactly what, I know Boss Man and Hogan had a bit of a run in or something like that. But so basically, you got Mega Powers in the Twin Towers on opposition sides. Of course, DiBiase still kind of sore at Savage, but what happens is, because he's always had business deals with Bobby Heenan, so he was like, I bought Andre's services from you at one point. I want to buy Hercules as well. I want a slave. I don't know if that's the exact words or not, but that was pretty much what was implied. And of course, Heenan's like, yeah, here you go, he's yours. And Hercules fought back. He said, nope, I am no man's slave, and broke free. And so DiBiase would join with the Twin Towers, and Hercules joins the Mega Powers. And then, just presumably, just because, it's Heenan, he also had the Red Rooster join him over there as well, and King Haku, because, they're Heenan's family, so. And then, of course, on the other side, the other two that would join with the Mega Powers and Hercules was Hillbilly Jim and Koko Ware. Kind of a, especially these early Survivor Series, because now, they've really only have like 1 or 2 matches. They do kind of beef them up. I will say, you kind of got, even though you can usually tell who's going to win or whatever, they all feel like they belong there. Now, on the heel side, I feel like they all belong there. Like even Red Rooster, who clearly, no disrespect to, Terry Taylor. I know elsewhere he was, better or whatever, but, here he was Red Rooster, but he was managed by Bobby Heenan, who was always like the top heel manager. So it feels like, yeah, Red Rooster belongs. It makes sense. And King Haku, same way. DiBiase, who, this is his last, big main event. He's on his way down to the mid-card at this point, but it still feels right. And of course, they just, they just formed the Twin Towers. A credible threat to the Mega Powers. But, and then, the other side, the storyline makes sense. Hercules, who's a big guy. Not the best, technician, but once again, you guys know how I feel about that. He's a good powerhouse, and that's all he asked for. So he joins the Mega Powers, who are already main event stars, but then they just kind of throw in filler on their side. Like, yes, Hillbilly Jim is a good friend of Hogan, and that's an established storyline, so it makes sense. But you're almost like, really, like this fucking paint jobber on his back. Like, I love Hillbilly Jim, but come on, he's not gonna win this. And then like Koko Ware's like, really? Like, well, at what point, kayfabe-wise, is Koko hanging out with any of these guys and is like, I'm going to join your team? Why? And Hogan's like, yeah, sure. And then, of course, but, they were always like that. I get it. You got to have some jobbers or, lower card guys that could be picked off because, we got to have our heroes at the end, fight against the odds. And that's what it was the year before, and that's, it happens after that. But I just always thought that was kind of odd. Even as a kid, thinking like, Hogan, Savage, you guys can find better, teammates. I bought Hercules for some reason. I did buy Hercules. And kind of bought Hillbilly Jim. Even though he had the size. And once again, I'm a kid, so I'm like, this luck can turn around. He can, do good. But Koko Ware, never bought that at all. But, so anyways, let's get to the actual match. They're all coming out. I think it's really funny, because, they got, the team solidarity of, the Twin Towers and their team. And then, of course, on the other side, and I don't quite remember I do love this event. In fact, I think is better than 87's Survivor Series. And this is actually I had this on VHS for a long time too. This is one of the ones I watched, over and over. So, but I don't quite remember if the other faces came out like individually or whatever. But I do like the fact that Savage comes out. He's the world champion, and he's, I feel like if you're going to separate it all, shouldn't the champion come out by himself? But whatever, world champion comes out, leading the rest of the troops, minus Hogan. He's wearing the yellow ties that say Mega Powers on the back. Like, he's team player, he's out there. And Hogan gets his own entrance by himself, and no Mega Powers on his butt. I can just say I can see why Savage gets a little upset. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I can see a little bit. The match itself, very fast pace. It don't feel like it drags ever. I mean, there's so many people coming in and out, and I mean, there's a lot of quick tags, so everybody kind of gets some stuff in. I just love the fact that Red Rooster's even in it. Like, it is just kind of funny. And once again, it sucks because I know, like, Terry Taylor, sort of had a career before this, and I think even after this he kind of went back to WCW, but I don't know if he ever recovered from the Red Rooster thing. It didn't help him. It didn't help him at all. And so it's just like, but the fact that they put him in the main event, you're just like, really? Red Rooster? However, Red Rooster, he's in the main event. First one out, Hogan beats the fuck out of him, then Savage drops the L1. I just love that Heenan just berates the hell out of him, just right in his face, like, what the, why did I even put you in the team? Why did I put you on the team? And I think to myself, like, why did you put him on the team? Like, I'm sure Andre had his own feud with Jake the Snake at the time or whatever, but I'm thinking to myself, like, you could have thrown him on the team. You would have had to sucker Jake into the other side, but whatever. So anyways, that's, that was, that. A lot back and forth, pretty much. I want to say the next elimination's Hillbilly Jim? No, Koko Beware, Akeem. Formerly one-man gang, and I believe it's him and Hogan are the only two from last year's main event come over. Of course, now one-man gang has turned African, and he's Akeem. But Akeem gets his, pinfall. And then, of course, no, I'm getting confused. Akeem pinned Hillbilly Jim, and then Boss Man pinned Koko Beware, I think. I can't remember. I literally just watched this match, and I'm blanking. Either way, it comes down 3-4. And we finally, and it was good, because like I said, last year's big problem was they had all these great storylines going into the main event, and none of them played out. Like, they didn't emphasize any of them or anything like that. And here, there wasn't really a whole lot going on in the match, or as far as storylines wise, except for Hercules and Ted DiBiase. And I do play up on that. And of course, Ted DiBiase, or Hercules beats the shit out of DiBiase, but he gets tripped up by Virgil, and when he turns to go after him, DiBiase for roll up, pins him. But the great thing about that is after every elimination, whoever did the elimination was like celebrating like they just won the entire match. Like every one of them. And the commentary points it out every time. It's funny. But DiBiase Sunday, he's like, yes, I did it. He's walking over to the, other guys, and then Savage goes in and rolls him up as well. So now we're down to 3-2. Before I go any further, and like I said, I had the tape. I don't even remember what the fuck it said. On the back of Koko Beware's tights, it was blurred out. What the fuck did that say? Does anybody know? Fuck you, WWE, for censoring. They even censored DiBiase's ass. They pulled the tights down a little bit and gave him a roll up. It wasn't like a bare ass. It was just like top crack, and they blurred it out. But they also, like I said, they blurred out the back of Koko's pants, and I'm just kind of curious, like, what the hell's on there? Anyway, so yeah, we're down 3-2, and then it just they end up getting Hogan outside, and they handcuff him to the rope, and they're just beating the ever-living piss out of him. Of course, Boss Man's legal man, he's counted out, and then refuses to leave. And then him and Akeem start beating the shit out of Savage. And this goes on for a while. Like, it ain't just like it happened instantly. No, like the referee's watching Boss Man work over these guys with a nightstick. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm just throwing disqualification out right now. Like, fuck it. But he doesn't. And then he waits for Boss Man to get in the ring, and then Akeem takes over, and same thing. He just, he waits a minute, and he's just like, all right, disqualification. Akeem's out of here now. So we're down 2-1. It's Haku, which, Haku's one of those guys that legitimately, everybody says he was like one of the toughest guys in the back. Like, he was one of those locker room enforcers. But, like, you would never know if you watched him wrestle, because it's just like he never moved up higher than, like, low mid-card. Like, seriously. And King Haku here, yeah, he's main event, but it's because he's got Heenan. He's in there because, same reason Red Rooster's in there pretty much. Like, he was just lower mid-card, but he's attached on the Heenan, so it's all good. But King Haku goes in there and just beats his crap out Savage. And, of course, finally Hogan, Slick still sticking around. Like, I'm just like to myself, like, you get the key, just leave. Like, fuck Hogan. Like, but he's sticking around out there because you have a reason for, Hogan to get free. And, of course, at some point, Slick's up there holding Savage because that'll work. And King Haku ends up kicking Slick. And then, of course, Hogan knocks out Heenan on the floor. So Miss Elizabeth comes over and picks the Slick's pocket. I love the commentary at that point because, like, Jesse Ventura's just like, she just took his wallet. I was like, that's hilarious. Jesse Ventura, it's such a welcome, he's back because, dude, the SummerSlam commentary was just horrible. Like, it wasn't the worst. I shouldn't say horrible, but it was bad. Like, it was just like, I don't know. Superstar Billy Graham on commentary he's no Jesse Ventura. He's on commentary. I know it's ironic because Ventura kind of followed in his footsteps, the look, when he was a wrestler. And you would just think, like, maybe he should do the same, but he didn't. He was like, I'll be myself. No, it was horrible. There's a reason the body's back on this one. So anyway, Hogan is free, and then, of course, gets himself in there and beats the shit out of Haku and pins him. Mega Power, Sole Survivor. And right off the bat, once again, he's picking up Elizabeth, like, hand on the cheek, twirling around, and Savage is like, what the fuck? And once again, he just plays off like, we won! Don't worry about it. We won. His music's playing and everything else. It's like, Mega Powers is like, dude, you're not a team player at all, motherfucker. You're not a team player at all. Okay, so anyways, let's get on to some aftermath. Well, like I said, we've already been seeing seeds of, these guys starting to break apart a little bit, the Mega Powers exploding, if you will. Shortly after this, Hogan has a match with Akeem, which Big Boss Man interferes, and of course they end up just beating the shit out of Hogan. Of course, Savage comes out of a chair, cleans house, and Elizabeth comes out and helps Hogan to the back, which pisses Savage off to no end, right? Flips, and he's just like, start questioning her loyalty and everything else. And this keeps going, and of course, it will bleed into the next pay-per-view that WWF has, the Royal Rumble, the first one they had. And so I won't go any further into the dissolve, or the destruction, the explosion of the Mega Powers. But Hogan and Savage go on to that. As well as Hercules is also in the Rumble. Koko Beware. And both Twin Powers. $1 Million Man. And I believe King Haku. And I think one of them isn't in there. I don't remember which one. No, sorry, King Haku's not. Red Rooster is. King Haku has a match with Harley Race because they're kind of, I guess, they're fighting over the crown or whatever. And of course, and they're the only ones that compete at the Rumble. So overall, what I think about this match, I'm a fan. Like I said, if you guys have been keeping up with the main event lately, you guys know, or not just lately, but since the beginning, that I'm a big fan of the Survivor Series in general. Like, that's my favorite pay-per-view. I love the elimination dynamics. And this one is just great, especially compared to the year before. I just think that, the characters are more colorful, if you will. Even though they don't really pose a credible threat, I don't think. Because once again, when you got Red Rooster and, like, King Haku, it's just like, And I'm not trying to knock Haku. Like, I know legitimately badass character was not. I'm sorry. Like, Haku just was never anything higher than lower mid-card jobber to the stars. And yet, in all honesty, he could probably whoop the shit out of anybody in there, but kayfabing it, he wasn't. This is the last time we see DiBiase kind of in top level, and then a lot of these guys same way. I mean, a lot of these guys would never really quite touch the top level, the main event, if you will. Of course, right now the Mega Powers and the Twin Towers feud is igniting, and I remember watching a lot of that. I had a tape called More Saturday Night Main Event, which is just kind of like a greatest hits compilation. It went from like, I believe 88 to 89, just kind of like, in there, but it covered a lot of that, so, but yeah, this match right here, like I said, I really liked it, really dug it, can't ask for more. Love, once again, just, Hogan Savage getting Duke, so there you go. So guys, that's all I got. What did you guys think about the match? Leave your comments down below, and somebody please tell me what was on Koko Beware's pants. If I had my VHS, I would have just popped it in and checked myself. Because Coliseum Home Video didn't give a shit. Didn't give a shit at all. They didn't care that, Paul Orndorff was making racial faces at Mr. Fuji at WrestleMania 2. They just let it go. They're like, fuck it. It's the times. It's what we do now. It's the 80s. But they cut all that shit out, and they're blurring shit apparently. So yeah, you guys know what he said or what was on his pants. Let me know, please. So that's all I got, guys. Tune in next week. We're heading over to AWA for the only AWA pay-per-view, Super Clash 3. Fuck. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing over there. Super Clash 3 next week. Guys, until next time.